You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and we're excited to have you here today. The topic of today is finding your voice. Now, that can be translated to many different situations in our life. If you have a passion or a career desire and you want to go for that and you're just trying to find your voice and getting recognized, then that might be one thing you want to consider during today's show. If you're dealing with a health condition and you feel as though doctors are not listening or you're not sure what you need, but you're frustrated with how slow things might be going, I want you to find your voice and be your best advocate and make sure you ask for assistance and help. Or if you're in a relationship and you don't feel like you're heard, or maybe you're going in circles and in conflict, and maybe they're even being abusive, again, I encourage you to find your voice. Now, we are going to be taking your calls shortly. Also, I want to make sure that you stay with us because our inspirational guest, our next segment, is going to be one that you don't want to miss. It's Amy Weber. She's going to talk about how she was bullied at age 6, but then in her teenage years, she became the one who bullied others. Really interesting dynamic and where she is today. So we're going to jump in. I get a word here from our producer that we have a caller on the line. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, welcome to the show. How can we help you?
Hi, I was just wondering, I've been trying to quit, smoking, but it's kind of been hard for me to quit. So do you have any suggestions on what can I do or what I should do?
It's a really great question. The first thing I want to ask you is, do you want to quit? Do you really want to quit?
Actually, I do, because my family has a history with lung cancer, and I don't want to go down that route as well. Mm-hmm. So I kind of want to be a healthy person.
Okay, and that's the first thing, because it can't come from other people telling you to quit or the expectation that you should quit. It really has to come from a burning desire within you to want to quit. And what you might want to consider is, it's called transference, when you're choosing a healthy habit to replace the negative smoking habit. Okay, so what are some things that you could do that would replace the time that you smoke? Or actually, let me ask you a different question. When you smoke, does it mainly release anxiety that you might have? Do you do it because you like the taste? Do you do it because it's social? What do you get out of it?
I do it because I'm stressed.
Do it because you're stressed.
Anxiety sometimes, yeah.
Okay, so knowing that, we have to find a positive replacement for that. Okay, so knowing you, because you know yourself best, aside from smoking, what's another go-to when you're stressed?
I normally just watch videos or eat, or I mentioned something. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to ask you that question is because somebody might say, oh, go work out or go do this. But if that's not something that interests you, then it's not a positive replacement. So you know that you are better off if you're distracted by videos. And I would fill your mind with positivity if you can. So inspirational videos, maybe comedies, get a good laugh out of your belly, right? If it's foods, you want to consider what type of foods, right? So we don't want to go for the mac and cheese and the burgers every time, but also sometimes celery is not always desirable either, right? You got to find that happy medium. So what is a healthy food that you genuinely like? Oh, tough one.
Okay.
I normally I like apple.
You like apples?
So I normally just munch an apple.
Okay. So what I want you to do...
Banana.
Or a banana. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to, and this may seem silly, but I promise you there's a reason behind what I'm saying. I want you to research all the different ways in which you can make apples and bananas exciting. Okay? Believe it or not, you could take bananas and freeze them so they're like a dessert. You might dip them in peanut butter. You might dip them in chocolate. You might take apples and dip them in caramel. You might take apples and put some sugar on them and put them in the oven. You might just have each of them independently on their own in their, most fresh, healthy state. But do you see how you want to take a healthy food that you genuinely like, and find all different ways in which you can dress it up so you're not bored? And then what you want to do is, again, you know yourself best. Sometimes if we go buy the whole apple, just the idea of cutting the apple, we have resistance again. So we never eat that apple, right? If you know that actually cutting the apple might be something that would hold you back, then when you go to the store, you literally want to get a bag of already pre-sliced apples. Just make it that easy for you to consume them. Or get really small bags that you can take to work, to school, in the car. Do you see how you want to replace smoking so that rather than having them in your car, accessible to you wherever that might be, you want to replace that with the apples, the bananas, the whatever. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then same goes for the videos. So kind of have your go-tos. Maybe find some podcasts that you really like and have them ready and accessible on your phone, on your computer. The minute you feel that stress level come in and you're feeling like I need a cigarette, I want you to grab your phone, turn on the podcast, and replace it with that comedy or that inspiration. But if you do that, now you're taking control, right? You're getting your power back. Because I'm sure when you go and you grab that cigarette and you have it afterwards, there may be some joy, but I bet you're kind of beating yourself up a little bit, huh? Like, why did I do that? Mm-hmm. Right? So you don't want to beat yourself up. So that's why you want to start replacing it. And I also want to encourage you that tell other people in your life what you're doing. Hey, listen, buddy, if you see me smoking, tell me to put it away. Because if you don't tell people, they don't know to support you. Okay?
Okay.
But if you do that, I know that you're going to be on a better path and that you will eventually break the habit. And you might find other positive things besides videos and apples and bananas. Just start thinking of all these things that could be replacements for smoking. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. I really enjoyed that he asked that question because, again, we're talking today about finding our voice, right? But finding our voice is not always just verbal. Finding our voice can also be an action. So when he calls in today and he's saying, you know what, I'm really tired of smoking and I need help to figure out how to do that, when he actually takes the initiative and the action to replace that negative habit of smoking with a positive habit of, apples and bananas, now his voice is being heard. It's just an inner voice. Now he's not struggling with that tension, with that stress. Now I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, how you doing?
Great. How can I help you?
Well, I'm an aspiring actor, and I'm in the beginning stages right now. And it's been tough for me because the beginning stages are pretty slow, and just trying to stay confident and know that my end goal is near and what I should do to, continue to build myself and keep going towards my goals.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like you're a small fish in a big pond? Or do you know where you're unique as an actor and you kind of feel like a big fish in a small pond?
I feel like I'm pretty unique in the sense that I'm very tall and, I stand out wherever I go. So okay. I wouldn't say that I'm a small fish in a big pond, more so a big fish in a small pond. So
okay, and literally a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, definitely.
So the reason why I bring that up is today we're talking about finding your voice, right? You want to make sure that you list out all the positive attributes about you, not just even the physical, but also, your mind, your body, your soul, your passion for acting. And wherever you go, you take that charismatic personality that you are. When you go in for a handshake, it's less about you and what you're going to get out of that connection and more about how you can help the other person. Hi, I'm an actor. And let's say they are a director. How can I help you? Maybe I'm the right fit for your project. Maybe I know someone who is, right? You go, you shake someone's hand and they're a casting director. How can I help you? And if you go with that state of mind rather than, what can you do for me? Again, I do believe that will open doors for you as well. Okay?
Of course.
But thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
You got it. Take care. And so for everybody listening today, it's about finding your voice, figuring out whether it's verbal or nonverbal. How can you give life, give people in your world the best of you? And what is that? What are those unique qualities? What are those attributes that are signature only to you? Once you figure that out, now you got all the ingredients that you will need to be successful. And then from there, we just get even further expressive about how great you are. So stay with us. It's all about finding your voice. We'll be right back after this break with Amy Weber, our inspirational guest. Stay with us.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Let's make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about finding your voice and figuring out how do we express ourselves, both verbally as well as physically, when we're trying to convey a message to somebody or how we feel. And our inspirational guest today, Amy Weber, is a perfect example of that. She's actually gone through it in terms of being bullied when she was 6, but also, interestingly enough, she became the bully in her teenage years. And so she really understands both sides of that dynamic. And in fact, she went on to direct a movie called A Girl Like Her. So we're going to bring Amy into the show because she really did have to go through the journey of finding out how to find her voice and how to become the person she wanted to be. So I'd like to welcome Amy to the show.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
Absolutely. Happy to have you. And there are so many things about your story that I want to get to, so I'll just jump on in. I want to take our audience back really to when you were 6 years old, because that's when, for the first time, you found yourself in a relationship, really a friendship with a neighborhood boy, where you started to see it go from a friendship to more of a dictatorship. He was telling you what to do. Can you share with us an example of that?
Yeah, he was actually a schoolmate of mine in kindergarten, and our friendship was fairly normal in terms of on the playground and in the classroom. But when we went to his house after school, which started a few weeks into the school year, it started off with just a little intimidation, telling me what to do, what I could do, what I couldn't do, and then it escalated into locking me into his trundle bed, kind of daring me to go in, and then shutting it, and then not opening the door, locking me in the closet. And it escalated one day, weeks and weeks later, to him actually throwing me down face first into the cement, which damaged my 4 front baby teeth. And those were just a few of the examples of what I endured during that relationship.
Now, did you notice, was he picking only on you, or was this behaviors he had with other classmates?
I wasn't sure. It was something my parents investigated, but I was only, at the time, 5 years old, and so they really didn't discuss that with me.
Who was the Amy going into that friendship, and who was the Amy coming out of it? How did that classmate change you? How did being bullied, being picked on, being abused?
Oh, I think I was fairly innocent prior to that experience. I think I had a belief in people. I grew up, my parents were not spankers. I did not know what physical pain felt like outside of hurting myself as a child, so I hadn't had a hand on me in a harmful way. I had 2 older sisters who were very sweet to me, so I didn't understand the behavior. So I would say when I went into it, I was an innocent little girl. When I came out of it, I had trust issues, fear of people, and an uncertainty that I could trust another person again.
And that's really hard. That's a lot of pressure on a 6-year-old. And
yeah, most definitely.
I know over time your parents did clue in to the fact that they needed to make a change for you. And there was a point when you were able to change schools. But the change was just not a physical change. Something clicked within you. You changed. What was that?
I did. We actually moved cities when I was 7. And in that move, which was about an hour and a half apart, I decided that I was never going to be picked on again. And I was a very athletic child and very, very what they called those days tomboyish. And so I played a lot of sports. I grew a very thick skin very quickly, but unfortunately that was just a protective barrier that went that became my protector, that became my way of life. Because if someone looked at me the wrong way, it was always boys. And if I was looked at the wrong way, or someone was teasing someone, especially teasing a girl, I didn't even think twice. I actually would start fighting the boy physically. And I got a reputation very quickly of being a bully, and that reputation stayed with me for a very long time. I didn't mind it because I knew that no one would hurt me under that reputation. And it worked in terms of not getting picked on again. It didn't work for many other reasons, including my self-preservation.
Right. And, the thing about it is we hear about people who are bullies. I mean, whether they're kids or adults, right? But when you are the bully and you're maybe in a room by yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror, do you ever have that, this is not me moment? Or are you proud of it?
Well, as a kid, I can't say that I really saw myself as that. And you're not really conscious when you don't have a conscious stream of thinking when you're behaving this way. The only thing that you're aware of is that you're getting a result from it. And that result is that you are not the target. And outside of that, there is no other stream of consciousness happening.
So there's no regrets. You don't, when you're in that frame of mind and you're bullying somebody.
Not at the moment. And then there are times, if you have a close friend who is brave enough to say something to you, it starts to trickle in a little bit. If you're completely unconscious, then nothing anyone will say will ever affect you. But I really wasn't this person. So friends of mine who are still my best friends today, a couple of them would say something to me like, why did you say that? Or why did you do that? And I would have to try to explain myself. And it was, of course, always projecting on the other person as far as what they did or said that was a real threat. And I had a friend who just one day kind of set me straight. I think I was in 6th grade. And she said, well, no, that's not how I saw it at all. How I saw it was this way. And I saw you pounce all over him. And that is, I think, when I started realizing I didn't really know outside of my core group of close friends if anybody liked me, if everybody behaved a certain way around me because they were afraid of me. And
Amy, this is where you're going right now is so where I want to pick up in the next segment, because we're talking today about finding our voice. And sometimes it's finding that whisper to yourself of, hey, what am I doing? Right? So stay with us. I want everybody to buckle up. There's more to come with her story. And today we're talking about finding your voice. And again, that could be physically, that could be emotionally, but it's all about living life full out. We'll be right back after this break.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the Food Pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about finding your voice and being able to express yourself when you're excited, of course, but when you're also scared or intimidated, or in the case of today, bullied. And I want to introduce our inspirational guest today, Amy Weber, back to the show. She directed a film called A Girl Like Her. But Amy's story is really fascinating because she's been on both sides of it. She's been bullied and she's been the bullier. So I want to welcome Amy back to the show.
Hi,
Amy.
Nancy.
Hi, there you are. Hi. Okay, good.
I am here.
Okay. And Amy, it's like I said in the intro, you really understand both sides of this. And when you were younger or during the times in your life that you have felt bullied, what signs should people have seen? Your family, your friends, your teachers? Because you essentially were asking for help. Maybe it was just the fear in your eyes, but a lot of things got missed.
I think the first thing that might have helped in my situation is my family noticed that I got a little quieter, and then when I was acting out, it was more aggressive. I think those are two. So overall, there would be a quietness, not a willing not a willingness to speak up or initiate conversations, but also I was a fairly aggressive child to begin with within my family. And I think that escalated as well. And so those two were definitely signs that in my particular case that were obvious. And an uncertainty, kind of a readability of not knowing how to say no. For instance, when my friend initiated having me come over, it always was a quick question of, oh, Billy wants you to come over, and to ask questions. How is that friendship going? And to be more aware of, we assume when children are together that they're always being supervised. And that was not the case at the house that I went to. There was a mother that was there, but she wasn't in the rooms we were in. And so I was hesitant, and I was never asked questions about the friendship. So in my case in particular, again, had my parents asked me questions about that friendship, how we treat one another, how is that going? Do I feel safe there? Obviously, that would have been a completely different experience for me.
Yeah, that would have been a lot more helpful. And I know as you grew up and as you translated into the person who wanted to have the power and kind of push back to those who were treating you or others wrong, in that pushback, I'm sure there were times that you had a tantrum, that you acted out because you were the aggressor. But even in that, you were just trying to find that voice and express yourself, that anger, that frustration. And I'm sure at times it got to a boiling point. Is there things that people could have done differently then? Family, friends, teachers?
I think people were very aware that I was angry. My mom was really a great help to me in terms of she was always right by my side. She didn't give up on me. She didn't judge me. She was not harsh on me. And out of everybody in my life, I would say she was a constant that eventually that softness in her and that belief in me kind of pulled me out of it. But outwardly to everybody else, I was very difficult to soften. I was getting in trouble a lot in school. I was down to the principal's office a lot. No one knew how to control me. And I had a teacher, I'll never forget her, my second grade teacher. She was new. She came in to replace our other teacher. So our other teacher, actually, I believe she retired. And she knew how to handle me. She knew how to set up a reward system for me. It was almost like Animal from the Muppets. It's a great, I guess you'd say, he represented me very well, because one minute I could just be sitting there and then someone says something, creates a trigger, and I would just go be hyper as can be, and no one could calm me down. Mm-hmm. And so with that, there was a lot of signs that I was struggling. But unfortunately, I don't think there was a lot of training back then. This was, I was growing up in the 70s and in school in the late 70s. And it really just, there was no real understanding of the aggression that I would show and how to control that or even try to calm it.
Wow. I can appreciate that. I can see that. And, you are young. And I think as kids, as teenagers and adults, we're just trying to find our way. And it's interesting, as you went along and now you started to have relationships, intimate relationships, you still found yourself going in and out of relationships that some were a bit more toxic and others were more loving. And when we're talking today about finding your voice, how did you eventually find the right words to express yourself and not be, so extreme, the aggressor or also intimidated? How did you find that happy medium?
Just through a lot of work in into myself. I was I would say it's twofold in terms of not just a willingness to take a look at myself and see even the parts that I didn't like and to find a way to love those parts, but to have people surrounding me who believed in me, who saw past certain behaviors. I eventually, as a young person, found a voice without having to be so aggressive. Sports really became an outlet for me that was very healthy for me, and using that as a way to channel my aggression. And I played multiple sports, so I was constantly moving, I was constantly being physical. And so, but also having teachers around me. I had a counselor that was very helpful when I was younger. So as I became a young adult, I had already worked through a lot of the pain. And I discovered that underneath all of it was fear. Underneath all of the aggression was a fear of several things. Being hurt, number one. Being a target, because I knew I was different. Because I knew as I was growing up, there was something different about me. There was no definition for it. I had no understanding of what it was. It was not in the mainstream media like it is today. But I knew that if people found out of how I felt or what I thought about or who I liked, then I would be destroyed. I was convinced that my life would be over in terms of any kind of acceptance or social life. And this was all I would be known for. So I found ways to distract. And in that distraction, I kind of became a mentor. And in that mentoring, I think I was able to focus on other people. Again, another channel, another way to control but I used it in a healthy way to help inspire people, to help people find their voice in the darkness and without necessarily having to expose my own.
I love that, because really that is the main ingredient to everything, is rather than taking in and what's in it for me and what can I get, it's really giving it out. Because if you give it out, then it's a good depletion. You're making an impact, you're making a movement occur. And I'm just curious because, you have done a lot of good self-work on yourself and understanding, but as somebody who has been bullied, and you've also been the aggressor, what are a couple of triggers? We just have a few minutes here, but what are a couple of triggers that you see creep up even today where you have to put yourself in check so you don't get out of control?
Anytime I see someone picking on someone in any capacity, but children, animals, those are triggers for me. Women, I immediately become more ego-driven at that moment and very protective. And that is a number one trigger for me. Blaming, shaming me is a big one in terms of accusing me of something that I didn't do. I've had to really sit with that and give people a space and hold a space for them, that especially as a mother, to sit and let them feel however they're feeling and not take it personally. Letting go of taking things personally became my greatest challenge. And it's a practice I have every day of my life.
So it's a fine balance between finding our own voice and being expressive, but also what I'm hearing you say is hold the space for others, step back so they can have a voice.
Absolutely. I think that is so important. We are all waiting for our turn at the table. And sometimes our turn at the table is just to listen and to hold a space for another person to have their turn at the table.
I love that. And that is such a perfect note to really end on today, because we all have that opportunity. We all have that ability the next time you're in a social situation. And rather than being the one who necessarily talks and controls the conversation, let other people be the driver. And so, Amy, I really want to say that we appreciate you touching on this topic today. We wish that bullying wasn't so relevant, but it is. We see it in social media. We see it in the news. And so really, thank you for sharing your voice and your story. And we definitely appreciate your time, and have a great day today.
Thank you. You too, Nancy. It was a pleasure speaking with you again.
Thank you. And for everybody listening today, it is never too late to find your voice. It's just figuring out, what do you want to say? What does that look like? And if it's a physical movement, then let's figure that out too. So when we come back, we're going to be taking your calls, and I'm standing by to help you to live your life full out. Stay with us. We'll be coming right back after this break. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. We'll be back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", boost your kids and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a Lost Cat Magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We are your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When finding your voice, you want to consider what is building inside of you, what is festering, kind of like a soda can all shook up, and when you pop that top, you explode. Whatever those feelings and emotions are, you want to get them out. You want to turn to someone for support or at least an empathetic ear. And yet, if you are inspiring and you have a voice to share and really bring people to a positive place, do that as well. It's all about living full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And we have been talking today about finding your voice. And part of that is just looking inside yourself, figuring out, where am I unhappy? Where do I want a change in my life? Where do I feel I'm being picked on? What do I have to give to others to inspire them? And I give all those 4 different options to you because we want to get it out of our head, out of our heart, and you want to express yourself, whether that's verbally or physically. And I'm always so impressed and so proud of those who call into the show and the guests who share their stories with us, because that's how we give back to the community, to our audience. So in fact, we're going to go to the phone lines now, check in with one of our callers. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, I just ask a question.
Yeah.
How do you overcome the fear of depression returning? I've been very good for the past month due to some lifestyle changes such as sobriety, and just wanted to know how I keep myself in a positive place.
Well, first of all, high five. Congratulations on your sobriety. And that is one that we have to, right? We're talking about finding our voice today. You want to express the heck out of that. That is big, okay? And it takes one person like yourself to talk about that and share about the positive changes that have come with it. But I do get that sometimes there will be moments where you just feel a low energy because you don't have that alcoholic go-to, right? We don't have the drug. We don't have the negative habit. So when you find yourself slipping, what generally causes that? Have you taken time to kind of feel that, like what your triggers are?
Yeah, I think it could be a few things. Sometimes it's loneliness. I think that's a big one for me.
And what do you think a second one is?
Sometimes, let's see, when I'm tired.
Okay.
Just everyday stress.
Mm-hmm. So let's look at those two, okay? Because first of all, you have done something that is courageous and mature, and actually you've done something that puts you now into a leadership role. When you take on sobriety, that's big. And now you have the ability to take what you've learned and the how did you do that and give it away. Share it with other people. You can't, it's not about saving people, right? You only want to help those that are ready. But the great thing about that is now you can step into a place where you can go into social circles where you can assist others. And that would help with the loneliness, because sometimes when we feel lonely, it's just because we don't have an outlet. We don't have that place to turn to people that get us, or turn to a place where we can give it away, what we've learned. So I just want to encourage you to either step into support groups where, yes, at times you get supported, but really stepping into being that leader where you can give it away and help teach others the how to. Now, on days that you're not feeling so leadership, you're not feeling so strong, then you want to look at ways that you can do self-care. So who in your life can you turn to? Not so that they would necessarily give you advice, but just a listening ear. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on, because of your energy level, is a lot of times I believe that we have to switch our energy. If you're feeling sad, I want you to jump in the shower. Not with your clothes on, okay? But jump in the shower, right? Just washing our hair, the smell of the shampoo, the conditioner, the soap, just cleansing away the day, that will switch the energy. Having a glass of water, cold, lukewarm, room temperature, that will switch the energy. Sometimes having just a soda or, water with fizz, that switches the energy. Do you see how it's just emotions are energy in motion? So when you're having an emotion, which is being depressed or feeling a low energy, you want to take that emotion and turn it into energy. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those are things that you can do. Again, drinking something that gives you kind of a pleasure taste and kind of switches that energy in your mouth. Taking a shower switches up the energy in your body. Taking a quick nap. And then, of course, calling someone for support. That will all get you into a more positive place. Okay? But I really appreciate that you called into the show today, because I guarantee you other people listening are right where you are. And I also want you to look in the mirror today and tell yourself that you're proud of you, because I am and we all are. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling in.
All right, bye.
Bye. And for everybody listening today, it's all about finding that voice. And I know you can do it. It's just really just being with yourself and figuring out what is it that you have to say, and finding some way to translate that into the right words or the physical action. The entire Living Full Out family here wants to thank you, and we're all dedicated to making sure that you are truly living your life full out. Again, check us out on Alexa, go to your app stores. We are there to keep you motivated and energized on the go. Once again, thank you all for listening today. Have a great day, and here's to you living your life full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.